Top of the morning, my general. Just pass a big accident on Mountain View. After you pass Excelsior and go down a little bit more and take the next right corner. So go around the deep corner. You see them half a car, I see.
Flick a bit, it black off. Whole light black off. Nobody can turn up Mountain View, nobody can come down Mountain View, you know. The whole I want to go park on the taxi and go home. I go find somewhere to go run. Drive around Norman Yard now, come round. I drive down Waterloo Road. Don't come, you can't pass on my bottom here.
Welcome to True Jamaica Buzz News and Entertainment with the Buzz. The video that you just saw is of a police shooting. Two gunmen, lost their life in a place known as Mountain View. That is close to the National Stadium. Based on the information, it is said that at least 2 tools were recovered. If you look on the screen, these are the 2 tools. Look like a 9 or a 4/5 and then a 380, which is a smaller version to the 9mm, way smaller version to the 4/5, meaning 4.5. Now, people, whenever you see stuff like this, meaning pictures like this on the screen, the police is sending out a very serious warning message. Is that it is 2 for 2. These 2 tools were taken off 2 gunmen in an alleged shootout or a shootout. Don't know the specifics. You see the magazine outside, you see the amount of live rounds from both guns. And then what you don't see is 2 pictures that are also there. In these 2 pictures, 2 individuals are seen, one in a black shorts, laid down upon him side, designer shirt, ski mask. The whole of his entire thoughts is leaking out in a red, meaning that the whole I'm Maroon. Well, you thought that that was even bad. The next picture is even worse because this man is seen, look like in some sorts of bedroom. The same thing with female, only there are all sorts of residue splattered in that room that he is or he was. Moral of the story to this is that youths out there, the police, they've been sending out all sorts of warning. Do the right thing or the wrong thing is going to do you. It does not matter if it's a shootout, alleged shootout. Once you're caught in the company of bad company or worse, a tool, you are going to be sent to your makeup. You're not going to meet the judge. So therefore, you sleep and mark death. Literally. Point blank and period.
What if you hold dual citizenship and the US government told you had to make a decision? Choose between America or Jamaica. Not tomorrow, not next year, but today. Well, a US senator has just introduced a bill called the Exclusive Citizenship Act of 2025. A bill that will force every dual citizen to pick just one nationality. And for Jamaicans in the diaspora, this is no small matter because many of us hold dual citizenship because it keeps us connected to our homes, our families, our land, our birthright. But under this proposal, you would have 1 year to renounce your Jamaican citizenship or risk losing your American one. Think about that. No more rights to vote in Jamaica. No more active ties to the island that shape your very identity. This isn't just paperwork. This is culture, legacy, and belonging. So hear me clearly. If this bill moves forward, Jamaicans and diaspora must move forward together because we are not a small community. We are a global power. We build economies. We influence elections. We shift conversations. And when we stand united, when we raise one voice across every state, every city, every parish, every island, nobody, and I mean nobody, can force Jamaica out of us. So stand firm, stand proud, and stand together because we are Jamaicans.
So the next thing that is popping in the news, based off the video that you just saw, of this man explaining a bill that is in the process in a parliament, in the US government. And if that bill is passed, persons, Jamaicans living overseas, especially in America, will have to choose if they have dual citizenship, meaning you can be both a citizen of Jamaica and also a citizen of the United States. Based on naturalization, Jamaica, based on the fact that you were born there. So therefore, you cannot be denied that citizen. So the man asks, what would you do? In my case, I would never give up a US citizenship for a Jamaican citizenship. Yes, I am from Jamaica, and yes, I was born in a Jamaica. But when I weigh the pros and the cons, what do I have to gain by giving up a US citizen, or even if it was Canada, even if it was England? A land of better opportunity, that is why most persons are running away. When you look at America, and based on what we see right now, the political climate, we see that there's a maniac in charge. However, that maniac has a maximum of 2 terms, meaning 2 4-year terms, whatever the case is. However, when it comes to Jamaica, the president or the prime minister can be there for life. Once he wins in a national election, then he can be there forever. So whatever policies that he makes, I will be severely affected. If I give up the Jamaican citizenship, I can always come back to Jamaica. I just cannot use a Jamaican passport. However, I can freely travel to the United States. If I give up the United States passport, there is no guarantee that I am going to get a visa unless, of course, I am going to be a green card holder. However, a green card holder does not get the benefits of a citizen. A green card holder can be deported if his crime is deemed to be serious. US citizen, you can hardly be deported unless, of course, it is treason. However, when it comes to that new president, that maniac, we see that he is also deporting citizens. We saw that there is a bill out there now for him to deport somebody that is in a political party, a Democrat, somebody from Somalia, I think she's from. However, he claims that she has patriotism to Somalia and not the United States. So even though she is presently a politician on the opposite party, meaning the Democrat, he is trying to get her out and he is looking like he is going to be successful. People, like I've always said, I cannot tell anybody who to vote for. However, be very careful who you vote for. Let me know in the comment section, would you give up a US citizenship, English citizenship, Canadian citizenship, a first world citizenship for Jamaica just out of patriotism when we see the type of politicians that are there, meaning both PNP and JLP, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is based on a high-level meeting that was held in a parliament between members of the JLP, Jamaica Labour Party, members of the PNP, People's National Party. Member of PAC, which is the regulatory body or the body that includes JLP and PNP that monitors places like the OUR, Office of Utilities Regulation, which is the regulatory body that monitors the JPS and utility companies. Well, people, the PNP PAC member, her name is Nikisha Burchell. She had some questions for both the JPS, both the OUR, and both all concerned. I want you to take a look at exactly what she has to say as it pertains to that loan from the government of Jamaica, JLP, the JPS, as it pertains to the OUR, as it pertains to estimated bill versus bill that are on the smart meter. Take a look, and then I'll give my piece.
Has the OUR conducted, commissioned, or required an audit of JPS's damage claims for Hurricane Beryl or for Hurricane Melissa? Or are we relying completely on what they've self-reported? So this $350 million bill for Hurricane Melissa, which has been much talked about in terms of the government's contribution to it, is it something we're just taking from JPS and then forcing the government to cough up well-needed resources to help them finance a figure that they've self-reported? Or are you going to find a way to verify that?
PAAC member Nikisha Burchell. Now, Director General at the OUR, Ansett Hewitt, said they have not done an audit of JPS's claims from Hurricane Beryl.
We have not done a formal audit of Beryl. In fact, that's why there is an outstanding amount that we haven't allowed yet, because we're still going through the information that has been submitted to us. So for Beryl, for Melissa, again, we wouldn't be doing an audit now because the restoration is in fact taking place. What we have said to JPS is we have given direction as to how we expect the assessment, and we make a distinction between the engineering assessment that says this is the kind of damage that has been done, and then the cost of actually effecting the restoration.
Director General at the OUR answered Hewitt. There is an $11 million claim by JPS that was made in October 2025 for Hurricane Beryl restoration, which has not yet been approved by the OUR. But Ms. Burchell wants more to be done to validate the information presented by JPS. For Beryl alone, JPS accessed roughly $21 million from the EDF, and with blackout conditions persisting in southern and western Jamaica, the money flow to replenish the EDF could be dented. It is why Mr. Hewitt says a parametric insurance premium for JPS is being explored.
So people, you heard what the PAC member had to say as it pertains to the loan for the 150, and then they get 50 more emergency out of the total of 300 million. That is 350 million. So therefore, they would have to come up with 150 million out of the 350 million. Spoke about why it is that we are still getting estimated bill when the whole system, 100% of the JPS system is totally monetized, totally electronic, totally computerized, where you can see minute by minute usage of each person. However, they still choose to do that. They used to do that when they had the older meter, and now they are still doing it with these smart meters. So it tells you that they've come to the realization that the older meter was more beneficial, so therefore they are using the same old practice, which is being crooked, which is not being fair. However, what is not being fair is the OUR, meaning the Office of Utilities Regulation, that is supposed to be the regulatory body making sure that the people in Jamaica don't get screwed by JPS. But we see that they've not been doing a very good job in the past couple of decades. And we see that they have not done the vetting process when JPS claims that the amount of damage was 350 million. OUR just took it for face value based on what the JPS had to say. So people, if the regulatory body is not regulating these people, what do you think is going to happen to the customers? We're going to get screwed without Vaseline or KY jelly, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, it is called for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. We saw that a couple of days ago, your Prime Minister Andrew Holness went to the Maroon community and he met with the Chief Curry. And there was a bit of controversy between the security, a lady with dreads. There was a verbal physical altercation between herself, or the chief's security, and the security for the PM. Well, people, it seems as if after that meeting, when there seems to be some sorts of understanding between the chief of the Maroon and also the chief of the country, meaning Andrew Holness, it seems as if the chief, Mr. Curry, has had a change of heart. I want you to take a look to a video that has been making its round over social media, in which the chief of the Maroon is saying that he is going to decline the offer that was made by the government based on a couple of criteria. Take a look, and then I'll give my piece.
Ashe. Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, on behalf of the indigenous people of Akompong and the wider Maroon districts of Cockpit Country, I send sincere appreciation for your recent visit to our community and for the government of Jamaica's expression of support following the destruction caused by Hurricane Melissa. We remain grateful for the humanitarian gesture extended to the Akompong people and for your willingness to mobilize resources, particularly those of the JDF military, to assist with the recovery efforts. Following a deep, comprehensive internal review and a formal deliberation, the full Maroon Council has this time decided not to accept the offer on the militarization of the space during the recovery effort. The full Maroon Council instead has resolved to continue with the response, utilizing civilian resources from our joining communities and our partners, both locally and internationally, who have offered to the community their assistance in the recovery efforts. Instead, the Council would like to thank you for the offer on materials and would accept the offer on those materials and equipment necessary to assist in those recovery efforts. We want to ensure, Mr. Prime Minister, that harmony and inclusiveness of our Maroon human resources, of those here in a compound and adjoining communities, are balanced to execute the infrastructural relief efforts across our Maroon communities.
Now, people, with everybody that has anything to say negative about the PM, of course, you knew that Chief Curry was not immune, void of it. He was also getting a bashing on social media, even though you saw that he met with the Prime Minister respectfully, even though he declined respectfully. He said that he cannot and will not take any sorts of militarization by the JDF in his community. He wants to remain independent based on some sorts of statute, some sorts of rule that was given to them by the English back in the days. Don't know the specifics. So we saw that dancehall artist that was saying that he respected Chief Curry, and Chief Curry is not one of those leaders that is going to bow down, was defending the chief when persons, especially from the JLP, were bashing him. Even though he came out and he said respectfully to the Prime Minister, we have other sources, persons internationally that will be willing to help us, have pledged guarantees to help us. We will take whatever assistance we want or need from the Prime Minister, the government. However, we don't want a whole bunch of police, a whole bunch of soldiers. We don't want it to be micromanaged by the PM. And people, these are facts. The PM seems as if he wants to micromanage everything. He wants to delegate who he wants to delegate. So therefore, the chief of the Maroon is deciding that he is not going to accept on those terms. He will take part of the offer, but not full offer, meaning that everything is going to be micromanaged by the PM and his team, meaning the JDF, the military. People, that is the man's right. However, we see that he is getting a whole bunch of bashing in the comment section of his post. And those are based from people from the JLP. They like to try to bully people, and people, the same thing exists as it pertains to PNP. So therefore, the man is making a choice as a leader. Is that the best choice for him? Is that the best choice for the people? Well, people, the leaders of the Maroon community, all of the chiefs, come together and have decided that that is what they want to do, and we should respect it. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is based off a video that has been making its round over social media with a pastor, preacher, a man allegedly of the cloth, that was seen on the pulpit preaching to his congregation. However, he was doing some unorthodox acrobatic stuff. I want you to take a look to that video that I am speaking about, and then I'll give my piece. Now, people, what I'm going to say is going to sound controversial. Back in the days when we first went to America, and it was kind of RACIST. The WHITE people, I used to say, black people come from monkey, rete, lele. Well, people, based on this man's action, not disrespecting him, based on the acrobatic, based on the flicking, him kind of remind me of some sorts of chimpanzee or orangutan, somebody from the monkey family. Not meaning his physical structure or his looks. Just meaning that the things that he is able to do, we never see human beings usually doing that, not even in a acrobatics, not even in a gymnastics. Well, people, the moral of the story is this: not his acrobatic skills, not his gymnastic skills, but if persons are convinced, if you can sell yourself to people and be very convincing, they will believe just about anything that you say. So therefore, this pastor in this case, realize if him use his unusual, unorthodox skill set and perform while he is preaching on the pulpit, it will more convince person to probably donate towards his monetary gain. Point or the moral of the story again is this: If you can convince people, even if you're lying, if you put up an act that they believe, they will do just like you say. They will eat out of the palm of your hand. You will seem like some sort of godlike character. Such is it in Africa and such is it in Jamaica. Me just as say, everything is not as it seems. Don't let persons' sweet words or convincing scammer word convince you to take out your money out your pocket and give them because you think that their skill set or you think that what they say, the promises that they make, will be fulfilled. Only time will tell. The truth will always come to light. However, sometimes it is after you have given these pastors are false prophet your money. Then you realize after you are broke and they are rich. Me just say point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is based off a video based on a news article that has been circulating all over social media in the news in a real life, where it is confirmed that over 50 dogs, mostly mongrel dogs, from in the vicinity of Negril in the western place of Jamaica, that were vastly affected by the Hurricane Melissa that were marooned in some little community, some little spot. They were taken by an organization to United States and also Canada. So therefore, they are living their best lives. Now, people, I guess, whatever humanitarian group that came to Jamaica saw these dogs, Maroon, saw that they needed help and they decided right on the spot they are going to help these animals, and they did. The dogs were put on a aeroplane and they were sent back to United States and Canada based on whatever organization it is. Now, people, from the last time I checked, there are all sorts of dogs in Jamaica that are maroon based on the hurricane, even pre the hurricane, that are probably more traumatized than these 58 dogs. And people like me say, I don't know what kind of trauma them go through. The people make a decision, and these are the ones that we are going to take. Moral of the story is this: it is easier for some mongrel dog to go to United States or Canada than for the average Jamaican. It is easier to get humanitarian aid as a dog going to United States or going to Canada rather than human beings that were also maroon. It seems as if these people have a priority on animals more than they have of persons of yours and mine, pigmentation. People, I don't want to sound racist, but me just say point blank and period.
20-year-old Junior Brown, a resident of Seaward Drive, Kingston 11, and Marcarius Monroe, otherwise called Mackie of Ricketts Crescent, were charged today for the shooting deaths of Constables Charles Stewart and Jamari Gordon. The men have been charged with 2 counts of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, possession of prohibited weapon and ammunition, and using a firearm to commit a felony. The police said both accused were pointed out in multiple identification parades. Constable Stewart, who was attached to the Spanish Town Police, and Constable Gordon, who was attached to the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigative Branch, were fatally shot on the night of November 13 at their business place at 83 Lane off Waltham Park Road in St. Andrew.
So the next thing that is popping in the news, based on the video that you just saw about 2 individuals that cornered 2 police, took them away off Waltham Park. They were on the run for a couple of days, but the police had put out a person of interest more suspect list. They eventually turned themselves in with a JP or a pastor or somebody, some lawyer, don't remember the specifics. Well, people, those 2 youths did the right thing. Those 2 youths were known by the police officers that they took away. Those 2 youths have been a menace to society in them community. So them know that the police was going to take them out without a shadow of a doubt. It is lucky that they actually made it into surrender. However, it is not done. They've been charged officially, but I doubt that they are going to see court. I know that something controversial is probably more than likely going to happen to them by the time they get to court or get to prison, where they will definitely be sentenced, charged, convicted. Now, based on information that I am getting, it is said that the 2 individuals that were taken out in a Mountain View, along Mountain View, might have had something to do with that, or something to do with a case in which includes a police officer. People, whenever the police go for you and them find tool, or if you don't have any sorts of tool. And coincidentally, both persons were given all sorts of head clap. It means that the police intended that they had a warrant of death and it was executed. As soon as I can make the link and tell you for sure exactly why those two individuals were taken out, I will. Point blank and period.
We actually was packing from here.
Michael Bennett and other volunteers have been gathering donations to send to Jamaica after the country was devastated by Hurricane Melissa. But when they came to their storage facility to load a 20-foot truck this morning, everything was gone.
For someone just to take it like that, it's hard to deal with, man.
Bennett says he was shown security footage captured by the company Public Storage in Mississauga.
This is the lock that was cut.
He says it shows a flat truck break through a locked gate, back up to this blue trailer where the barrels and crates of goods were stored. The truck was loaded up before driving away, all around 5 in the morning.
So the next thing that is popping in the news, based off a video that has been making its round on social media, in the news, in a real life, where it is said that some kind Jamaicans packing up some barrels and boxes for Hurricane Melissa relief to come to Jamaica in a storage facility. However, that storage facility was cleared out by a man in a flatbed truck or with a flatbed truck. Now, people, I don't want to sound kind of skeptical, but in my opinion, the person that took those barrels, those boxes, was somebody probably close to that organization that was planning to send it to Jamaica. They had inside knowledge of exactly what was there, and then probably I said to themselves, all of them stuff there, me can use them for myself, me can sell them for just profit, more money, more money, more money. It shows you that even when persons have a kind heart, sometimes they are just acting. I am not speaking about the man that is speaking. May I talk about somebody that is probably close to him, close to the information. They are more than likely the one, because nobody is going to go in any place, pop off the gate, broke off the gate, broke off the grill, broke off everything and take out everything unless they knew exactly what was in it. Me just say, point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. Bless up.